8.7.
Yes, welcome back. You are listening to The Locker Room on 98.7 RPPFM, and we are joined in the studio now by who I can only describe as an extreme marathon runner. This guy's list of achievements is a mile long. Mr. Richard Bowles, welcome.
A mile long?
I'm very fascinated. This is an amazing. You've got this list of marathons and events and world's first person to do these amazing events, which we will go over. I'm really keen to hear how you got into this, I guess, extreme marathon running, this marathon. Yeah, but I like that.
Yeah, let's just clarify what a marathon is for most people out there, which is 42 kilometres. Now I go a bit further than that.
Yeah, just a tad.
Just a tad further than that. You know, I'm the sort of guy that does between 1 and 2 marathons a day. On some pretty serious terrain around the world. I don't do the traditional road marathon. I'm the guy that likes to go off into the mountains and go and get lost for days at a time. So that's kind of my background. How did I get into that? Good question. I mean, stupid easy, I think. Yeah, I mean, it starts off like most people, I believe, which is, I used to be kind of an overweight guy. I used to work in sales when I first came here to Australia. And I didn't do any running at all. I couldn't see the point in it. People used to say I used to do fun runs. I said, where's the fun in a fun run? Like, this is ridiculous. But it's not until I actually first sort of, got into that first fun run, if you like, that I realised that actually this is not too bad. It's a bit of release from the stress of everyday life. And it sort of just grew dramatically from there.
That is the right
over
word.
Sort of the last 15 years, yeah. And it's funny, people say to me all the time, Richard, like, you must really love to run. And I say, no, actually, the complete opposite. I actually do not enjoy it that much to go and run, 5,500 kilometres across the Great Dividing Range of Australia. But I think it's the other things that running gives me, which is, it keeps me fit. It gets me to come and speak to some amazing people like yourselves. That's always a bonus. But yeah, it's a mental release. It gets me to travel. There's so much more involved than just the turning over of legs.
So tell us about the first person to ever run the world's longest marked trail. Where was this, and how did that all happen?
Well, that's here in Australia. Yeah, it's the Bicentennial National Trail. It's 5,330 kilometres. And it runs the length of the Great Dividing Range of Australia. So it starts in Hillsville, here in Victoria, and finishes in Cooktown in far north Queensland. A real Australian experience, I like to call it, outback bush kind of trail. Yeah, it's the longest marked trail in the world. Let me just clarify that, because people often say, no, it isn't the longest trail. Who's longer trail? Yeah, so the longest marked multi-use trail, actually. But, is it that well marked? I got lost, so perhaps not. Either that or I'm stupid. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of my first long distance run.
How long did you take to do something like that?
So that took me 5.5 months.
Yeah.
So I ran a marathon a day for 5.5 months. Got supported by my beautiful girlfriend who's in the studio with us but not speaking today, Vicky, and she supported me in a camper van. Okay. Now, if you think the running's hard, if I was spending 6 months in a camper van with your partner, that's a whole new endurance sport.
So she wins her event.
Yeah.
I noticed on a couple of the YouTube videos, I think there was a fair bit of tough love there, wasn't there?
Yes, mate, absolutely. Yeah, I'm surprised we're still together.
Strengthened, if it doesn't kill you, it strengthens you.
So did you get lots of community support as well around you, or was it just really just the two of you and doing this event, and it wasn't until after you'd done it that you started to get some more support, I guess?
Yeah, well, I guess it's both. I mean, I spend the best part of my days out in the absolute middle of what on my own, and it's a good job I like my own company, isn't it? Because it is that much time out there. But yeah, we have a lot of community involvement. I mean, we do a lot of community-based projects. We like to involve people. We actually supported Sane Australia, which is a mental health charity, over that particular project, and we did some community barbecues and things like that to raise awareness, particularly in regional Australia, where it is kind of a bigger issue. So we had lots of community involvement, which is great, but often that's more draining than the actual project itself. If you can try and at least imagine running a marathon a day through the mountains, and then having to sort of go and speak to people. Sometimes that's really hard work.
You must have a really long playlist. How big is your iTunes?
Yeah, I don't listen to music actually. No, not at all. No, it sends all my pacing out of whack. Because you go from like this great sort of high techno sort of paced song where you're just going too fast.
Yeah.
And then you get something else kind of a bit more sadder and emotional, and you slow down. And you go, why am I doing this?
Yeah, of course, Richard would have the RWP app downloaded on
Absolutely. So,
Special diet time meeting.
Yeah.
I want to see you with that Map My Run app. How cool would that be when when people finish their run and like I just ran 6Ks in 45 minutes? Imagine that.
5,300 in there. So look, when I go for a run and there's nothing like the distances you're doing, it might be 8K, it might be 9K, I actually use that as thinking time. I do lots of good ideas and thinking. What are you doing? Are you thinking? You switching off thinking, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, look, I do think, but it's not the thoughts that people think they have. You think if you spend 6 months out on a trail in the middle of nowhere that you should be able to, answer the world's problems. The fact is that I'm thinking about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because the nature of trail running, which it is, is that if you don't concentrate, you will trip over a rock or stone or fall down a cliff. That's just the reality of it. That's what happens. I'm constantly thinking about if I need to eat now, do I need to drink now, where do I meet the support team, checking the GPS, making sure I'm on the right track. And a good example of losing that kind of focus and that sort of being in the moment thing was I also ran a trail in New Zealand, which is just over 3,000 kilometres long, and I had about 3 days out on a mountain range, pretty severe range actually, and the weather was terrible. And I got over it. I was cold, I was wet, I was scared. I just got over it, and I lost concentration. I was too busy thinking about all the things I would like to be doing, and it wasn't running. I was enjoying it. So, and at that moment, the next thing I know, I'm tumbling. I'm tumbling quickly, and more quickly, and more quickly, and I don't know what's happening. My whole life, 35 years flash between, in front of your eyes in seconds. And the next thing I know, I'm just lying flat on my back, staring up at this thick fog, and just trying to figure out if I was alive or dead or what actually happened. But
Thought you were in the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, well, you sort of are New Zealand, and there's no trick photography there. That is what New Zealand looks like.
Tumbling, ending up on your back, looking up, thinking what just happened. Sounds like Bossy on the
Yeah, but that was just due for me not looking, not thinking, not being in the moment, and you just trip over, and next thing you know, you're tumbling down a mountainside. It's pretty scary stuff.
So all these long trails, all these marathons, what do you think was the greatest challenge?
The biggest challenge, apart from what I noted on before, which is spending a lot of time with your partner,
Sure.
The biggest challenge is setting the challenge almost.
Yeah.
Creating the challenge. I always say to people, the running part is 1% of what I do. And I've still got friends that still don't understand exactly what I do. They think, oh great, you get paid to go and do your sport and the things that you love doing. But the reality is that, that's 1% of it. The rest is speaking to sponsors, and you guys here know how that works. So speaking to sponsors, getting funded for projects, being here, being there, being on the radio today. There's all these other things behind the scenes. Getting awareness, and the planning that goes into these things is immense, and that's a stress in itself. So I wish it was just the running, because that would be kind of simple. But there's so much stuff that I have to do on a day-by-day basis.
We're going to have Rowan Day joining us on the phone shortly. Richard, we'd love for you to hang around a little bit later for us. But before we take that commercial break, what about the corporate side of what you do? I mean, that's obviously a very important part of who you are. Great information on your website as well. Good opportunity to update the listeners on life outside of the track.
Yeah, so look, for me, I think business and sport in general are so similar. For me, I speak to corporates and even clubs and schools about how you set and achieve these massive goals. Just life in general is a massive goal, right? It's tough stuff. So how you achieve these huge goals, how you persevere towards them, be it through the week, the year, a 5-year plan. How you overcome fear and the hurdles that get sort of thrown in your way along route, and the pain that goes with it. I mean, all this kind of stuff comes with a lot of pain, at least mentally, anyway.
Well, and we can get more information from the website as well.
Yeah,
which
which
is
is
very detailed, which is terrific.
Just my name, which is Richard Bowles, bowles.com.au. No relation to Camilla Parker Bowles.
No, but it was a shame. As I said, we'll have Richard continue to stay with us for the next 10-15 minutes. If you can, which that'd be fantastic. We'll take a bit of a break from our commercials sponsors, and we'll be back on the other side. This is 98.7 The Locker Room, proudly brought to you by the Flinders Golf Club.
I'm not sure what's name.
To the peninsulas.
I'm not sure.
Let's
So, next
Well, should I?
Alright. Can you wait for us?
Well,
Can you just wait until we come back and then I'll correct photos?
oh, okay.
Just give me.
So what's the go? Rowan's on?
Come over
For
here.
what? How long's Rowan for?
He said around 10 minutes he wanted to, make it a lot better.
Yeah.
So I did take a coaching course and learnt all this sort of science behind running. Did it make me better? No. But it led me on to then help other people trying to help achieve their goals. And look, and I still fall back on that, all that science and stuff even today. I think today though, as a running coach, I probably bring the wealth of experience, and I think that's what every coach across any discipline, that's the key thing they need is the experience. And I have a whole lot of experience, good and bad. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into that. I'm able to be picky and choosy these days with people that I coach. I think that's a great thing about having a bit of a presence out there, is that you get people, interested in people from all over the world try and contact you to help coach them. So that's something I'm really enjoying doing, is picking the people that really are disciplined and really want to really achieve some big goals. So like, are you looking at being coached? Is that what you're saying?
a little bit old for that sort of stuff.
Never
But obviously some people listening in might be,
Absolutely. And me and Vicky also have a trail running group. It's called Melbourne Trail Runners. You can find us on Facebook. We've got about 480 members at the moment. And we have sort of monthly trail runs, varying distances. And look, I'm there, different people, different experiences are there, and we kind of share the love. And it's kind of almost a free coaching session. It's all about fun, and we always eat afterwards, and I think that's my most important thing.
I was going to ask that question. Running 2 marathons a day in these major events, what sort of nutrition and hydration, that planning alone must be enormous to be able to cope with what your body needs.
I'll tell you what's enormous, the serving sizes. and I actually walked through your front door here today, and the first thing I noticed was the biscuits you have in the kitchen. I've got to tell you about it, it's amazing. It comes in the forms of just massive quantities, The more running I do, just the more I have to eat. I'm not that scientific with the approach, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
People think I'm on this sort of super weird, freaky diet, and the fact is, no, I like having a few beers like the next bloke, and chips and all the other junky food you're supposed to eat. In fact, when I ran the length of the Great Dividing Range, I'd often stop at pubs in the small towns we used to come across, because every town's got a pub right in Australia. And you think, well, it's only got a population of 20, so why has it got a pub? But I'd always go in there to ask directions and what I needed to do to get across the next piece of land. And as soon as you told the barman what you were doing, he'd say, well, I better buy you a beer, that's ridiculous. And the time you finish that pot, the farmer jars will come in, and the barman would say, do you know what this guy's doing? And he'd say, oh really? I better buy him a beer. So you can imagine when you've got 20 people in a town, that's kind of a big town when you've got 20 pots to drink. So, I used to be very drunk. Yeah. Then get up the next day and knock off 50 kilometres in the heat of North Queensland.
I think I had noticed on your Instagram account that you might partake in a little bit of 4 pints as rehydration.
I did 4 pints, yeah. Well, do you know what? I thought it's got pictures of trees on. It's kind of what I do. That's exactly the reason I picked it, honestly. I drink. I eat lots of, I suppose, bad foods. It's just in bigger quantities. I'm just able to because there's a distance.
Yeah, absolutely. So would that be all packed into this caravan when you're going these distances? Like, how do you, if you're in the middle of the nowhere, where are you getting all your supplies from? Is this a pre-packaged thing that you've got to really plan it all out?
We're fortunate enough for the Australia trip to be sponsored by a supermarket, so
Perfect.
that's kind of handy. Yeah, so we just need to get to a supermarket.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. And in a camper van, if anyone's got one out there, you notice that the fridge is not that big.
No.
It's a bar fridge, right? So you need to put bar
That's
items
what I'm
in it.
not putting together. Where is this food coming from?
Yeah, so it's as you said, the planning to make sure you're timing where to go, you know, that's all that sort of stuff. It just makes cooking for Vicky very difficult, you know. She can only sort of work out what she's got and try and make something up from that. So fresh food was always kind of hard, but you know, things like fruitcake and massive family bars of chocolate every night. I mean, I'm not knocking that back anyway.
No,
forget the carrots.
Richard, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you involved. We've got a recorded interview with an AFL footballer coming up after the break, which is Sammy Dwyer from Collingwood. So I hope our listeners stay on, but it's been absolutely fantastic.
Thanks for having me, Richard.
And people who are interested, no doubt can chase you on the website.
Yeah, please jump on board. It's you know, you can access lots of videos and stuff on there too. So there's always weird and wonderful things happening on my site.
Pleasure, Richard. Look forward to having you back at some stage in the near future. All the very best for your next venture, and we'll stay in touch.
Thanks, Ken.